How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week. Is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday? Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Alright, what's up nerds? How we doing? My trading nerds, is that the name I want to go with? The fighting nerds and the trading nerds. If you guys watch UFC, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the fighting nerds. No. Let's talk about what you guys are here for. The market, all fun stuff related to the stocks realm. What happened today? So markets had a nice green day overall. Good rally across the board. You got a couple positive news catalysts coming out in the middle of the day, according to in the realm of the trades and the tariff deals and so on. India, Japan closer to getting a deal through, and then China deals are more and more heading in the right direction. So all of the good news catalyst over here coming out and actually propelling stocks back to the upside. So market having a good relief rally today, which is a good thing. We've seen these bounces get matched very quickly with negative news and also with the negative moves and news right away. So selling coming in on pops, China's deals going sour right away after a couple positive news catalysts come out. So still on my tippy toes as to what exactly the market wants to do just yet, but things seem to be heading in the right direction. So I don't want to be negative Nancy here and keep inciting fear and keep scaring people into thinking that we're going into a big downside for the market for the rest of the year and so on, right? Earnings season's coming up. Well, earnings season is here, and today we had Tesla reporting earnings. They actually went up 5% or so at the time that I remember making the watch list, or not the watch list, making the thumbnail for YouTube and so on. So Tesla went up by 5%. A couple other stocks reported earnings. You had defense stocks report earnings today, pre-market. Google reports, I think, Thursday after hours. So some big names to report still. Next week's going to be very important. And given how far the markets have dropped, given how far some of these stocks have taken a beating, this earnings season and the given volatility also should be very, very fun for us to take part in. Everything that we just learned in the current market environment, time to deploy and put it into work into these new trade opportunities that are going to present ourselves with. The sympathy baskets, the earnings baskets, the possible mergers and acquisition baskets that are being talked about. We've already seen a boom in the IPO sector a little bit recently, so lots and lots of fun to be had, especially if you're a day trader. So let's get on to the full screen here, show you guys what I did on the day today. I had a nice little green day for myself. Not the band, but the trading day for myself was green, which was, I'll take it, small little win, especially after Thursday and yesterday for me. I needed a win, so all I did was focus on taking the one good trade and focusing on that trade for that moment. So no trades off the open at all. Stayed away for the most part off the open. Might have missed out on a lot of money by doing that, but stayed away off the open. Much later on couple stocks did find trades today, starting with, for example, Apple. Hertz was a good trade, but then I ruined that one for myself. And IBIT, this one was a nothing burger, a flat trade, but would have been nice to have that breakout over there. Would have been nice to potentially look back to get long on the stock later on in the day, but I got burnt out from trying the long in this area, that I didn't really hold this trade for that bigger move up north, which Bitcoin ended up going to, and IBIT gave you that profit markers if you were patient enough for it. I wasn't patient enough for it, so I missed out on some good profits over there on IBIT today. Very similar to GLD. So GLD took a burn on trying the long around I guess this is kind of the open, so I shouldn't really say I ignored the open. This was kind of where I put my attention on the open. It looked like gold was going to sell off, but then gold popped right back up to the north side and was holding around VWAP. So I figured possible longs in this area on gold, but that didn't have much follow through. Lost on that, moved on. Later on in the day, with the whole China tariff deals news coming out, gold potentially being overextended as the market's going higher. Gold's now looking as a retracement opportunity, some sort of a mean reversion opportunity. So looking for that day breakout or intraday breakout, and intraday breakout gives you a beautiful short opportunity to ride gold to the downside. But the bigger opportunity, the better opportunity, if you ask me, was this pullback, at which point I actually went to go grab a lunch. So I missed out on that short over there. GLD gave you the perfect second chance scalp entry on the short side, so missing out on that one. But I'm happy that I turned a loser into a winner with the shorts later on. And my best trade of the day today, potentially lucky on this one. Apple kind of rejecting before 199, before 200, around 199.50. Pulls back to VWAP, but you can see how around VWAP it's basically holding VWAP really well. So I tried to slip in some longs around VWAP by basically risking that area low right there, and instantly the news comes out and I get a pop right into today's high. So I figured, proactively I would have to take some profits over here, because that's a fairly big pop for a name like Apple, and how quick that pop came into play. So taking my profits, but then sadly don't really have too much size left. And when the 5-minute low breaks, I figured, maybe the trade is done at that point, and I look like a genius by taking that exit. But sadly, I basically got bottom ticked off that move, and that move ends up going much higher. And that last few shares over there that I had would have given me a little bit more money on the day had I traded that properly, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. I will have to review this trade later on off stream, so I'll review this and try to figure out how I could have traded this better today. But sometimes it helps to get lucky. You can see how positioning yourself in a name that's been beaten up quite a bit, in a name that's related to technology and to the China tariffs sector, a name that has been working so hard to move away from China at the same time. They've been going to India, they've been going through even bringing factories to America itself. So lots of factors over there to take a look at. Overall, just a clean technical play, a strong name on a strong market. Well, not a strong market on the daily sense, but a strong intraday market. Apple pulling back into VWAP, showing support, able to take that long in that support, risking that support low, and then getting lucky with the news catalyst coming in my favor, helping me to take profits to the upside. And if you position yourself well, you could have really done well on this trade. Also on gold, if you position yourself for this one, you could have done really well on the gold to the downside today, which I think is still selling off in the after hours right now. So gold futures, pretty sure, is gapping lower and continuing to sell off in the after hours at the moment. And we're potentially going to see gold futures gap down tomorrow, at which point I'm going to be looking for pops to sell gold futures or gold ETFs or gold miners and so on. So all of these names will be on the watch list for today. Only 4 names that I traded: Apple, GLD, HTZ, and Bitcoin, IBIT. Bitcoin obviously reclaiming that 90,000 area, which we talked about yesterday. This is when Angry Buddha and Dieter come in and say, "I told you so, haha, Prad, you idiot. MicroStrategy is the best company in the world." And it is it is the best company in the world, and this is what you get for not believing us and for not listening to your good friends who were trying to help you make you money. But no, you had to be a little egotistic about Bitcoin and not really participate in this rally. So you miss out on what is this, on 100 shares $100 per share by only risking $10-20 per share. So yeah, of course I'm a little salty when I see this happen, because this is when my friends were like, "Hey Prad, this is looking pretty good to buy." And same thing about Bitcoin, I just completely ignored. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna FOMO punch the upside. There is a setup over here for the long term. I think let me quickly go see what that setup is called. I'm pretty sure that setup is called low cheat setup. So I think that's I'm speculating here. I'm not an expert on the setup, but this is when extremely strong stock, for example, MicroStrategy is an extremely strong stock. Why is it strong? It's above the 200-day moving average, right? It's holding above the 200-day moving average, whereas some of the large cap stocks, Tesla, Meta, Apple, Google, Microsoft, you name it, none of these are holding their 200-day moving average. Palantir is another one that's holding its 200-day moving average. So MicroStrategy, fairly strong. When a strong stock is holding its 200-day moving average, and when the market is done kind of dropping and having an elevator to the downside type of environment, and the market starts to go back up, then stocks like these are where people will look to deploy their capital into. So this breakout is I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong with this one, a low cheat setup, which is basically taking the breakout of this candle, breakout of this area high and getting long if the stock is opening up above here, and you're basically looking for the opening range 5-minute candle breakout high, and you enjoy the rally up north. So if MicroStrategy tomorrow does that, then I am very much interested for a trade opportunity like that. So let's actually throw in MSTR on the watch list here to be interested for tomorrow. We'll throw in a couple other Bitcoin stocks such as Coinbase, IBIT, potentially even could take a look at Robinhood. You know, another one that's above its 200-day moving average. It is also in. Diego is in here. Diego is always the one who's been saying long Bitcoin from day one. That's true. But no, never gonna long Bitcoin, but I'm okay with day trading the stock and the environment. I tried to long Bitcoin today and it didn't work for me because I was just a little impatient, I guess. Anyways, Robinhood potentially something to watch for the Bitcoin trade if you're interested in that one. But I'm gonna skirt past that one real quick. Let's go take a look to see if Centerpoint posted. They did 57 minutes ago. Oklo down in after hours following announcement that Chairman Sam Altman is stepping down from the company. Ooh, not a good thing. So Sam Altman dropping out from the Oklo. I'm pretty sure Oklo doesn't even have what they say that they do, and so on. I'm pretty sure all of this is nonsense, but looks like that move got corrected right away. Almost like, what is this? Oklo Chairman Sam Altman to step down, CEO Jacob D. Woody to succeed. Sam Altman was the chairman of Oklo, like CEO of Oklo. Huh. I didn't know that. I don't know if he's just a chairman or if he's a CEO, but at the end of the day, still possibly not a good thing overall. Let's go see if any of the sister companies, NNE, SMR, not really too much of a move on them, but OKLO seems like it moved right back up to the north side after that news came out, and you can see how this area is a little important for me, and it bounced right off of that area on the stock. So if it does get back below 1750, 1760, then we can possibly talk about a big short stock, short on this name. But at the moment, above its 200-day moving average, it tried to get below and it bounced from it. So I would need to see weakness around this area, but it doesn't hurt to add it to the watch list. Let's just throw this on it. Let's quickly go take a look at the earnings calendar. Any big names on here? ENPH, TSLA, anything from tomorrow? Boeing, AT&T, Verizon reported today. Did they have a big move? Let's go take a look at Verizon. Yeah, that range doesn't excite me at all. How did GE do? GE, I guess possibly could break out of somewhere around, you know, these highs and start making a rally higher if it did have a possible day 2 in it. Doesn't hurt to take a look at GE also, but let's start with Tesla, I guess. Tesla, and then tomorrow we have Boeing, AT&T. Anything else that I'm possibly going to do? GE Veranova, so GEV. Nothing else besides that. Did I forget ENPH? So let me go back here. ENPH, BA, T, GEV. Then we can quickly take a look at GE. Did LMT do anything today? LMT, RTX. Ooh, RTX looks like it wants to potentially get lower over there. And if it does get below the April lows, I mean, that could mean something. So RTX potentially something to keep an eye out for in the defense sector, but if it holds that area, that could be a good long to keep an eye out for. Anything else on these names? Halliburton, HAL, how did you do today? I knew it would take me to this Hindustan company. HAL, a little bit of a drop down after the earnings, but not too exciting if you ask me. I know CVX and XOM and all of them are pretty much at pretty solid lows, like at you know, multi-year lows and multi-week lows and so on. But I'm not sure if I really care about trading an oil name at the moment. There's you know, big tech names reporting earnings, so I'd rather keep an eye out for these ones. So I guess that's pretty much it, and that's going to be the gist of the watch list. Besides that, these names actually should be coming a little bit lower because earnings names take high priority for me usually. So that goes there, that goes there. OKLO comes here, and now I can just throw in the other large cap stocks such as Nvidia. Tesla's already up there, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon. I already have Bitcoin up on here. Do I want to throw Palantir? I mean, Palantir is always something that I'm just naturally going to take a look at anyways, and it needs to get above that 99 area. Just yesterday we were talking about how potentially the AI bubble has been popped, and then today all of a sudden you know, everyone's like, woohoo, hooray, market's back, we're going up again, you know, it's the bottom's in. So it took very quickly for the sentiment to shift, especially on Twitter. So I'm still a little skeptical if you ask me about the sentiment really shifting. So I'm still very cautious for these pops to see how they react. But if they do reclaim some big important levels, then potentially yes, maybe we could have some good bottoms coming across the board. But this is a nice and short little watch list. I'm sure tomorrow pre-market I'll be enticed by some small cap stocks by their stories and by their moves and so on. But for now, these are the names that we care about, or I care about. Let's start with Tesla. Tesla reporting earnings today, after hours. Shares are climbing in the after hours Tuesday despite missing earnings estimate. Boosted investor sentiment with some announcements during the company's conference call. I expected that, because if you take a look at Tesla's move today in the after hours, you can see a volume spike. What seems to be potentially the earnings call starts, right? So probably the earnings call starting, and you see a volume spike and a move higher. So it did seem like you know, Elon had to do something in the call. So I was right by guessing that today. Tesla reported first quarter revenue 19.34 billion, missing estimates of 21.35 billion, and I think sadly these numbers will only keep going lower and lower as they just have more competition now, right? They are no longer the only EV provider. The large companies are also providing EV, it's just they're not gonna be able to also compete BYD in China and Europe, especially if tariffs come into effect the way that they have been previously threatened and so on. So all those factors I think are just not a good thing for Tesla and their car business. But Tesla is not just the car business, right? It's more than just the car business. So we'll see how all of that in the future plays out. Tesla first quarter earnings 27 cents per share, down 40% year over year, missing estimates of 31 cents per share. Benzinga users correctly predicted Tesla would miss consensus estimates in the first quarter. Why do I care about that? I don't care about that. Benzinga Pro users also predicted what? Why do I care about this? What the heck? All right. here is a ton more data for, you know, investors and people who actually look to read financials. So a couple of things that matter. For example, revenue down 9% year over year. Total revenue missed, that came in at 19.34. We kind of read that one. Automotive revenue down 20% year over year. Company said lower revenue was attributed to decline in deliveries, Model Y updated plans, and lower average selling prices for vehicles. First quarter earnings down 40% year over year. Company had 10.4 gigawatt of storage deployed in the first quarter. That is up, however, 154% year over year. Tesla ended the first quarter with 7,131 supercharger locations, up 14%. These numbers do look better. First quarter Tesla delivered 336,681 cars, down from 386,810 from the same period last year. Analysts were expecting 377,000. That's not that big of a miss, but you know, that's still a miss overall. Of the delivery total, Tesla reported 323,800 Model 3 and Model Y, along with 12,881 others, including Cybertruck. Tesla produced 362,615 vehicles in the first quarter, down from 433,000. Tesla ended the quarter with 951 million digital assets, which included the company's Bitcoin reserve. That's right. Do they still have that? Looks like they did. Company previously disclosed $184 million in Bitcoin, the digital assets, in recent quarters. Tesla recognized so that is going to in fact play a factor a little bit. So Bitcoin goes up, that also should be taking Tesla higher. Tesla recognizes a market to gain of 600 million on digital asset previously in the first quarter. What's next? Guidance said it's hard to predict on the rate of growth for the year and will depend on a variety of factors, including autonomy efforts, factory production ramp, and the macroeconomics environment. It is difficult to measure the impact of the shifting global. So pretty much skipping on its guidance, I guess. Will be revisited in the second quarter update. The company said it has enough liquidity to fund its current product roadmap and long-term capacity expansion plans. Company said it plans to more affordable. Okay. Overall, they are going to skip the guidance. I'm going to see this is, you know, this is going to be a trend. You're going to see a lot more companies come out and say something similar to this, or something similar to what UAL did, which I think honestly this is probably the easier route to go. Just say we don't know what's going to happen because of tariffs and so on. But you know, I think what UAL did is also a very good thing to do overall. Come out and give you an EPS with tariffs and EPS without tariffs outlook, and both of them kind of give your investors some confidence. End of the day, not any lack of confidence for investors on Tesla, because they clearly stepped up to fight, and fight they did. They went long, and they were looking for, you know, any shares that they could snag up. I guess I shouldn't say that, because it didn't really like go up 10-15% to the upside, which it was predicted. It was predicted to go up 10% today, or not go up, but it was predicted to at least have a 10% move. It had a 5-6-7% move overall, and then maybe later on, you know, closing, I'm not sure what it actually closed at after hours. But you know, the point is, it did not have as big of a volatile move as people were expecting. But all that doesn't matter for me, because all that matters for me is what happens tomorrow and how do I get to take advantage of this trade. So very simple, you know, looking for any action around this area, the 60-minute time frame. You're still very much between last week's and last month's ranges, so nothing really changed on the technical aspect. Maybe the fundamentals change a little bit. If you believe that these are good reports, and if you believe that a company dropping their revenue by, what is it, 20%, I think was the number. If you believe that a company missing or dropping revenue by 20%, I'm pretty sure it was 20%, and EPS by 40% year over year, is a good thing, then yeah, maybe get long and enjoy the ride. But if you don't think that's a bad, it's a good thing, then maybe you want to wait for pops to see how pops react, especially if the market's weak too, and then potentially you get some shorts to the downside. For me, I think based on that earning report, it's basically a nothing burger report at this point, because you're still very much in very recent ranges. At least if you push into 290 off that report, I could be like, okay, this makes things exciting on Tesla. Or if you're pushing well below these range lows, then that makes it exciting. But being stuck in these ranges, then I'm just having to play with yesterday's high, yesterday's low, last week's high, last week's low, last month's high, last month's low, and so on, and looking to see how stock plays with previous well-known resistances and supports, and looking to trade off that. So this report doesn't really give me too much of a inherent bias to just go out there and look for a blind long or a blind short. Just gonna let the flow of the stock, flow of the day, tell me what to do with the stock, right? I might not even trade it for the open. I might trade it much later in the day to see if the stock has an established trend, and then can I join the trend? Maybe like a 9 EMA continuation, a 21 EMA continuation, or like a VWAP continuation trade, or a high a day breakout, or a low a day breakout much later in the day, and so on. So just some ideas over there for those of you interested on how I'm going to be trading Tesla. Next one is ENPH, energy name. What did you do? Looks like a red report. Okay, that's not good, and dropping lower. Ooh, that is potentially good for me though, because that makes shorts fun. So let's quickly throw in that marker, and that marker is $47.48, and dropping right exactly to that marker and trading sideways around that just makes my life so much easier. Gotta love when opportunities like this set up. At this point, you're basically looking for a very clean under over. You can see how the after hour pops for the stock right around, what is it, $49. $49.50 was basically last week's low. So anywhere in this range, if the stock is not able to get firm and look for a possible breakout long, then that means it's possibly looking for a breakdown short. So ideally, I would like for it to be weak below this area, so possibly in here, at which point I could just take the breakdown short, or I could wait for pops to get short into possibly the VWAP or the 21 EMA if it's trading down here. But if it's trading up here, I'm going to be a little bit cautious, and if it's trading well above, there's just no more shorts at that point. So for the most part, I'm looking for the shorts on this stock. And last week's low, which is $49.50, to that zone. Let me just quickly put in $49.50. Oh, turn off caps. Last week low. And what is this one? April 9th low is $47.48. $47.50. That's basically last, or not last month. This month is April lows. And then we do have the after hour low, which you don't want to ignore also, and that's 45.72. So 45.72. All right, and now I have my 3 zones marked out. Basically going to be analyzing the stock, stalking it, hunting it, waiting to see how it plays in the zone to look for a short opportunity if it sets up exactly how I want it to. If it starts showing me strength in this area, I might even just screw off and not even look for a trade, because I'm not really interested in a long on the name. But I'm not sure why I have that kind of a bias. I haven't even read the earnings report yet. So let's go read the report real quick. Earnings end phase Q1, revenue miss, EPS miss, cautious guidance, shares sink. Continue reading the report. $356.1 million. Missing estimates 361. Company reported 68 cents per share EPS. Missing estimates of 70 cents. Barely missing on both sides, but missing overall. Total revenue down from the same period last year, which was 382, and you reported 356. That is an approximately 13% quarter over quarter decrease. Meanwhile, revenue in Europe increased approximately 7% quarter over quarter. Company generated 48.4 million. Okay, outlook second quarter revenue 340 to 380. Company anticipates second quarter margin 42 to 45% or 44 to 47 on adjusted bias. Gross margin guidance include approximately 2 percentage points on new tariff impacts. End phase energy executives are discussing the quarter on the call. Blah 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 blah. Stock down 12.39% at the time of the report. What is ENPH's PE? $72. Oh baby, even more so I want to look for the short. So revenue declining is pretty much what I like to see. So revenue declining overall. Yeah, they are growing in international aspects, sure, but guidance is a little bit softer. They reported softer overall. They missed EPS. They missed EPS. EP. It is EPS. Boy, I said it so weirdly. They missed EPS. They missed revenue. Their PE is a little expensive. 72 PE on ENPH. They're pushing into 52-week lows. I'm pretty sure that's 52-week lows. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's 52-week lows right there. And making new 52-week lows in the after hours just gives you even more of a reason to look short if the stock is trading below that. So high priority name, possibly even higher priority than Tesla for me in terms of earnings report trade, if I'm being honest. If stock can find weakness on pops into 49.50, look for shorts. If stock already below April lows, look for all pops to get short into. And this is basically a very, very high priority. If it's below 47.50, April lows 47.50, look for all pops to get short into. And a very, very high priority right there for me on that bad boy. Next one is Boeing, and this one actually reports pre-market, so not sure exactly. It is a little similar to, I guess, what was it, RTX? No, it was GE maybe. Very similar to one of the other defense names. Boeing's not really 100% defense, but it is kind of aerospace and defense sector, right? So if Boeing, which has been beat down quite a bit, they also recently had cancellation from China canceling their orders and so on. I mean, who wouldn't cancel from Boeing after all their flights have been falling out the sky? You know, planes are made to be flying, not falling out. So I'm not surprised by seeing China canceling the flights and so on. But with the earnings reports coming out tomorrow, this right here, this pocket from 162.50 to 164, this pocket is going to be pretty important. If the stock is already above this pocket, then there is no more shorts for me. Well, I shouldn't say that. It depends on how far or how high the stock gets, and how does it behave in the higher end if it does report and get there. But if it's like just has a pop above this area and it's dipping and giving you buying opportunities, and it's not really getting below this area tomorrow after a good report, that gives you a very easy long, especially if the market's bullish also. So a couple ideas over there for the bullish side, and always interested to short Boeing. So if Boeing actually reports negative and falls back to the downside, I think Boeing is going to be a pretty high priority. Right now I'm not going to color it at all. Color is basically, you know, what priority of stock it's going to be for me. I'm going to wait for the report to come out and then make my decision of how important that stock is for me tomorrow as a day trade. AT&T kind of in the same basket, no priority at the moment. Nice little head and shoulders on the daily chart. If you look at this, right, you got the left shoulder, right shoulder, you got the head right here, and head and shoulders I think usually is a downside pattern. At the moment, AT&T still above its 200-day moving average, so you might want to be a little careful looking for a short on this one potentially, even though the pattern right there is screaming for a short indeed. So I think the short starts if you take the breakout. Let's see if this pattern thing recognizes it. Oh, it did. Look at that. Head, shoulder, and you get short on the breakdown of $25, and your target would be $21. So it did recognize the head and shoulders as I was seeing it too, but it also recognized the rising wedge. So rising wedge short potentially entering at $26, right around where we are here. And your target is $21.50 for that one. Patterns, ladies and gentlemen, patterns. But obviously you want to couple patterns with the big picture and so on when you're trading on a larger time frame, and you want to be careful. AT&T reporting earnings tomorrow pre-market, not something that I might even trade tomorrow if I'm being honest with you. GEV also reporting tomorrow pre-market. Ooh, look at that, respecting the earnings VWAPs, not surprised at all, but holding at the previous earnings VWAP, almost having a earnings VWAP pinch, but with the 200-day moving average. For those of you who don't know what this is the spin-off from GE. This is basically the electronics sector. Is that how I put it? I'm not sure if that's how I put it. It's not the aerospace and defense sector, I'll put it that way. It's everything but the aerospace and defense, right? GEV. So this one is for a $300 name, the liquidity is actually not bad if you ask me. So if it does have some sort of opportunity in the pre-market, I will for sure be taking a look at it. I remember the last time it reported earnings, it went batshit crazy. So for sure putting this one a little bit priority right now, even before it reports, because I want to make sure that I read that report tomorrow. This one reported already. Pretty sure the chart looks a lot similar to one of them that we just talked about, Boeing, right? Very similar to Boeing, GE. Very similar idea. This one already reported, so potentially Boeing, if reports well and actually has that breakout to the north side, GE could you know, have a little bit of sympathy and have a day 2 catalyst to continue going higher. You can see how today's high is exactly $190. This little candle high from last Wednesday, not last Wednesday, but last Wednesday, was around 189, 190. So it's almost a no-brainer at this point of what you want to look for as a inflection level, right? So this area of 190 is your high inflection. If stock can get above 190, would love to look long. So if the stock is already opening above 190, you know, some sort of an opening range breakout, some sort of a dip into VWAPs and anchor VWAPs from the earnings, or you know, into EMAs and so on, or levels that I'm going to be looking to join the trend if the stock is already trading higher above in this area in pre-market. But if it's already trading below here, then you know, I'm probably just gonna screw off and not really do too much on it, and I'm going to blame Boeing, because I think Boeing possibly reported negative and is going to take it to the downside. All right, RTX pretty solid level here if you ask me. You can see how it dropped right into consolidation lows where it once bounced off of and pushed right back into that area. So getting below this little Monday low over here from April 7th would possibly open up a lot more weakness on RTX. That's a pretty big gap down. Not sure if tomorrow as a day 2 trade is just going to be an inside day on this name. Let's go take a look at, and I don't know how it reported. I didn't read the report at all. Their PE is 32. Looks like they reported decent, right? They beat EPS by 8%. They beat revenue by 2%, but not sure if the guidance is lower. You know, I haven't really looked into the super details over there, but sometimes not looking at the details and just looking at the technicals as a day trader is much more beneficial, trust me, because then you don't get clouded by biases and judgment, and then you try to force your will on that trade, and that never goes in your favor, right? But RTX, just looking at the chart, I mean, if you give me some sort of a setup into a possible breakdown of 112 in the next few days, yeah, I'll look for a short, but I don't think that happens tomorrow. I think tomorrow we get an inside day over here, but for now I'll put that 112 area on my watch list. I'll put a alert somewhere down here. If the stock does push down into that zone, then you know, I'll think about to see what I want to do in that area for this name. MSTR, obviously talked about this one. Very bullish move with how Bitcoin is reclaiming that 90K, and I said this could happen overnight, and it did happen overnight. So shout out to all you Bitcoin holders who bought this dip and rallied it back higher. MicroStrategy is still not going underwater yet, because Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin is above 60K, I think MicroStrategy does not have to worry about liquidation and margin calls. So shout out to MicroStrategy. This is a pattern where, you know, swing traders and investors look to kind of get long. So if this double top breaks out and we keep going higher, that opens up a lot more room, but you want to see Bitcoin also kind of adding fuel to that fire. So if MicroStrategy gets higher than whatever that candle high is, 350, and has any sort of sustaining power above 350, along with Bitcoin going north side tomorrow, I'm interested in looking for a long on this one. Almost barfed in my mouth just thinking about going long MicroStrategy. No, I'm joking. Coinbase, it's a little bit of a different boat than MicroStrategy. They're going to struggle because they have a lot of competition. You know, Robinhood literally stealing people away from them at this point with some sort of a better application. I'm not sure if Weeble's in there. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. There is another one, Crypto.com, Binance. There's so many of them, right? So Coinbase, it's still the #1 go-to if you're Canadian. Right? If you're in Canada, you need a Coinbase account if you want to buy crypto, I'm pretty sure. Or you can use like Wealthsimple and stuff too. But anyways, Coinbase is like the best in my opinion. If you're in Canada, the only one I've tried anyway, so I'm not sure. But you get the idea. But overall, lots of competition. This is, you know, potentially a pump because Bitcoin's going above 90K, yes, but overall, they have been taking a lot of beating on their numbers. Their daily active users have been going down. Their volume of how much money going through the system is going down. The fee generation is going down. Everything has just been lower and lower and lower on the last report. So Coinbase doesn't really get me too excited to look for a Bitcoin replication idea. I'm more so will throw that idea into IBIT itself. So if IBIT gets above 53, that's possibly because Bitcoin is rallying higher itself. So if IBIT is getting above 53, Bitcoin's rallying also, then there is just no questions for me to look for the long on this one too. It is a little bit of a rally here. It is, you know, you could say a little extended, so potentially this could be a failed breakout and doesn't have too much move above, but you get the idea, right? If there is buying above 53, I want to join the trend. So gotta read the tape. Look for possibly an inclining VWAP to see that the momentum's higher, inclining moving averages, and so on. You want to look for a couple nuances, look for all the little finer detail before actually jumping into the trade. But this is the rough idea. If we start seeing any momentum above 53 on IBIT, basically Bitcoin's going higher, and I want to join the trend. OKLO had a little bit of a negative news today. What is that low? 1750. So basically gotta keep an eye out for the 1750 area. If it starts trading below 1750 tomorrow, then I would love to short this name, because I think the bubble, it's time to pop the bubble. But this is a pretty far pop. I don't think we're gonna see the stock back down here tomorrow, so it might not even be a level to be of interest. If it doesn't go back there, might not have anything to do with it. Honestly, might not have anything to do with this name at all, because I only want to look for the short, and if it's trading in this area again, I don't care about it. Nvidia, did you get above 100 today? Does not get above 100. 99.81 was the high of day. Wow. Even Apple got above 200, which I didn't think it would. That's why you saw me taking covers so quickly on my long from 198 on Apple. But Nvidia did exactly what I thought it would do, which was not get above 100. So it struggled to get above 100 overall intraday, but did manage to get above 100 a little bit, well above 100. I mean, damn, what the heck? Is that a Tesla move? So got a little, I mean, that could be something to do with the Tesla move. That aligns very, very closely with the Tesla conference call pump that it had itself. So that could be very, very related. Let's go check out what Nvidia had to do in the after hours. 4 o'clock. Okay, what is this? What the heck? VRT higher on Tuesday after unveiled a major AI infrastructure initiative teaming up with Nvidia and artificial intelligence from iGenius to deploy one of the world's most powerful AI supercomputers. Colosseum is set to launch in Italy later 2025 and aims to support mission critical sovereign AI workloads. Okay, blah 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 blah. So VRT potentially something to keep an eye out for. Tesla also had some other news about that stock somewhere here. Where is it? Drive-in movie theater, dinner supercharger locations could be close to opening soon. So I guess just more ideas for Tesla to have you occupied in their ecosystem while they're basically charging your car and so on. Not a bad idea, right? Instead of just making you sit there in the public parking lots being bored, you could possibly watch a movie, which you could have already be doing on your little car monitor. But drive-in movie theater, why not monetize it a little bit? You also get a nice little supercharger dinner, possibly like a McDonald's or something, where you're charging your car and you can order McDonald's and it immediately comes to your car, and you can just eat in your car and so on. I could see something like that happening very quickly, or even a actual fine dining supercharger locations, like a fancy one, just to say, oh, I went there and I ate there while I was charging my fancy Tesla. Someone with the Cybertruck would for sure be doing that and putting that on Instagram and TikTok and so on. So I could see that happening 100%, but possibly not the news that I was expecting. The reason why Nvidia to go up, so possibly the VRT news is why Nvidia actually popped up. Let's go take a look at VRT on on a bigger time frame, I mean, that does look very good. The fact that, you know, it's trying to get above that little range, what is that, $74 basically, 73.50, 74, getting above that and looking bullish above that could give it some leg room to the upside if the sector and if the market kind of is you know, done crumbling upon itself. So it doesn't hurt to add another name to the list of stocks that you know, I want to keep an eye out for. I'm just gonna quickly do this over here. VRT 74, 73.50. So I'm keeping an eye out for that zone. But coming back to Nvidia real quick, I mean, that's a pretty good pop in the after hours, and they did manage to reclaim $100. So at this point, you're back to playing $100 under over. I mean, it's not like we stopped playing it, right? We were playing the $100 under over for the last few days, so continue playing the $100 under over. If on any dips tomorrow Nvidia shows you strength above 100, you want to be aggressive to get long, because trust me, these are prices that hedge funds and investors are looking to play off of. It's just a very clean psychological even dollar level. People don't want to think too hard about it. At least in my opinion, that's how it works. Sometimes there are more psychological and more sophisticated ways. At the moment, it is a bear market, so people will play more sophisticatedly. People will play a little bit more careful. But trust me, I know people who just go and they're playing with decent amount of money, who just go, yeah, $100. If they defend 100, I'll play long, right? So if day trade opportunity sets up that way and 100 defends itself, I want to be able to play on that long side too. Google, not sure if it's as important for tomorrow, because they do report in the next few days coming up ahead. So possibly just slide Google to the side for now. Microsoft also gets slid to the side at the moment, because I'm more so interested to trade some of the more volatile names on the market. For example, Meta giving you a good double bottom on the daily chart and having a little bit of a bounce over here. If Meta pushes back into these lows, you're kind of playing with the 500 area on Meta. So if Meta shows you support above 500, that could give you a very easy long, especially if the market's strong too. If the market's gapping higher and on every single dip, market's actually getting bought up every single push down and flush down on the dips tomorrow, then Meta most likely is already trading above 500, at which point you can look to join the trend. Once again, 9 EMA, 21 EMA, VWAP continuation, opening range breakouts, and so on. So Meta potentially something to help you pad the trades tomorrow on your account. Apple, I might not care about this one too much tomorrow, but the idea is kind of the same on Apple as it is on Meta and on Nvidia. On Apple, it's the $200 area, but that level for me is a little wishy-washy now. Way too much back and forth around that level, so I'm not gonna give it as much priority. And Amazon also gets slid to the side, not as much priority being given to these ones. So couple purple ones are the highest priority names. Boeing might get promoted to a purple level tomorrow. Orange are the next best priority levels for me, or priority names for me. We'll see if GEV gets promoted to a purple name itself. Quickly head over to the econ calendar. See what that is like for tomorrow, and the IPO calendar, which I know is dead anyways. Oh boy, okay, couple new names over here. 11 million, 11 million, 7 million, 9 million, 5 million. Nothing really of too much of interest. Phoenix Asia Holdings, Venture, Pinnacle Food Group, okay. Great Restaurant Development Holdings. Maybe might have to do. Oh, these were already today. These IPO today. Hot Pot, H-Pot. That has to be Hot Pot, right? H-Pot. Tomorrow, 23rd, no IPOs, and the 25th we have a couple IPOs, but don't really look like anything of too much of interest. But with the recent way IPOs have been moving, potentially worth keeping an eye on every single IPO. So keeping an eye on these ones going into 25th, so make sure you tune in on the 24th because we'll learn about those on that day. Econ calendar tomorrow is a little bit more active than it was today, but nothing really to shake the world up. So at the moment we have basic stuff, building permits, Fed Waller at 9:30, PMI numbers, that's not basic, 9:45 at PMI. We got the S&P Global Services PMI, that's pretty important, so not basic at all. New home sales also at 10 o'clock. Besides that, I think nothing really of too much of interest. So 9:45 will be something to keep an eye out for. Fed member comments at 9:30 and building permits at 8:30. Keep an eye out and watch out for more market excitement every single day, ladies and gentlemen. Every single day. Lots of fun, lots of excitement. Couple other stocks over here if you guys are interested to add to your watch list. FSLR up 10% after the US finalized plans to impose tariffs on most solar cells imported from Southeast Asia. Oh my, do I have to add now another solar energy company? I thought ENPH was a solar energy company itself, but oh, that's an intraday move. Okay, intraday, not an after hour. Intraday move pop on FSLR. That took it to the high of that range. I mean, that's not bad. You're basically telling me above 141, you could possibly look for some sort of a long over there. I'll throw in an alert, but I'm not sure I'll do anything with it. I'll throw in an alert on the chart. But moving on from that one, Spotify up 5% amid general market strength on Tuesday. I'm guessing Spotify and Shopify both went up along with the rest of the market. SHOP, S is Shopify is shop, Spotify is Spotify. Yeah, both had a nice little tick up with the market. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is basically all she wrote. Real quick, let me show you the QQQs. A little bit of a tick higher today, but you know, for me, you still gotta reclaim that Wednesday day high, and not reclaiming that Wednesday's high is still bearish for me on the market. And on that note, I'll leave you up to the trading gods. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Wish you guys a good green day. Until next time, TraderPrad out. Peace. Get ready for trade off of get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.